Hello YouTube, Camodo Gaming here, bringing you another episode of Scrap Mechanic. Today we are back in the town. Now, I intended on doing a moon-based episode today, but I ran into some issues. I installed a new mod, and something wasn't quite working with the map, so I'm going to investigate that. But I had already started some buildings in the town, so I figured let's go ahead and do another town episode today. I think you guys are going to like what I've added here. But yeah, what you're seeing here, this is just my apartment building. This is from quite a few episodes ago, probably at least 40 episodes ago. But it's a nice building. I'm going to go ahead and walk out here. Now, I've built two new buildings. Well, technically it's one building with two shops in it. And I built a new car today, so we're going to open up this door here. Close it. Also, the apartment building is still empty next door, so if you guys ever download the map, you can always move in right next door to me. At least, I'm assuming this is my house. Maybe this is somebody else's house and I'm just in it. But yeah, here is the new vehicle. Now, I don't want to call this a 54 Corvette. It closely resembles it, but with Scrap Mechanic's vanilla parts, you're kind of limited in like the actual shapes that you do, so I don't want to say this is a Corvette because somebody's going to correct me and say, well, that doesn't look right. So it is what it is. It's a very nice car. Now, one thing I do want to do with it, I want to make a variation. I'd like to have a hardtop version of it. It would be nice to have like a fold out top, but with my vehicles being more to scale with my buildings now, that's going to be pretty well impossible. There's just not enough room down in the trunk here. But yeah, you've got all the controllers and all the good stuff back here. Let's go ahead and hop in. I love the shape. It actually looks really nice, even with just the vanilla parts. The doors open and close. You've got the engine over here. It's got quite a bit of detail on it. Let's go ahead and hop up here and look in. I think it looks very nice. The reason the suspension kind of pops out the hood, it's the only way to fit them in this amount of space, and while still keeping the suspension. Like, I can go suspensionless, but the car is handled really bad when you do that, so I had to do that with the hood. You'll notice, I think with the muscle cars the same way from the last episode. But yeah, let's go ahead and drive over to the new building. We're going to pull out of our apartment complex here. Get quite a bit of speed with this. We're going to make a right here. Alright, I was debating where I was going to put this building today. Now, I originally was going to stick it over by the car dealership, but I decided to go ahead and build it here. And as you can see, we've got a couple shops. You guys were requesting stuff like this, so I figured let's go ahead and build it right across from the McDonald's. That was the last episode. That thing is fantastic. It looks great. Do not want to park there. I'm going to go ahead and park in the other spot, if I can make it here. I don't have the most parking around here. I'm looking for spots. Maybe we'll extend this out to the right. But yeah, this building will be on the workshop also, so if you'd like to download this, you'll get the AT&T store and the Gamestop. Now, I know it just says game on it. I couldn't fit the stop part because the letters were just way too big. Like, I could try to do it like I did the AT&T, but it's really hard to do like the G and the M that skinny, so I had to just go with game. But the building does look fairly similar to a Gamestop. The inside actually matches it very closely from all the pictures that I've seen. Let's go ahead and open it up here. And here we are, we're in a Gamestop. Now, this was one of the hardest buildings to do because realistically, the stuff that's in a Gamestop, it's mostly games. It's mostly these little cases. And I was like, what part can I use for that? It doesn't even make sense in my head. I was going through so many different parts. I was like, well, maybe I can try this, or maybe I can try that. I tried pipe pieces. I even tried just coloring the ducks and sticking them on the wall, and it looked really silly. So we just went with these concrete blocks. So basically, these are like game cases all over the building. You've got like the Xbox section over here, the PlayStation section, and the Wii section, or the Nintendo section, whatever you want to call it. You've got, sometimes they have PC games. They typically don't have many of them. You don't see many physical copies anymore of PC games, but I do have like a little PC section. You've got a little case down here. A lot of times it's where they keep their mobile games or like their DSs and stuff like that. They always, oh, I did not mean to do that. Got a little happy with the clicker there, so let's go ahead and build that back. That was odd. But yeah, a lot of times GameStops will put a lot of random stuff. Like, I've noticed it, well, I haven't really been into GameStop in a while, but last time I went, they have a lot of useless stuff now, and they used to not do that, but so like this middle shelf's just got maybe little knickknacks. You got like the ducks here, some pipe pieces, maybe some games that are on sale, maybe some stuff from other games. A lot of times you get like these little plushes or statues, just stuff like that. Over here you've got a couple of those little stations where you can play some of the new games. I tried making consoles, like that's not really the shape of a PlayStation 4, but it kind of is. So that's that, and maybe that's an Xbox. The Xbox is quite huge, except for the new one. I think the Slim is quite a bit smaller. Maybe I can just paint that white and we'll call it a Slim. But yeah, you can come over here, play some games, test out the latest and greatest of games. Of course, I don't play many console games anymore, but quite a few of you guys do, so that's that. Back here we have the cash register. A lot of times all the used games or even the new games are back in these cases, or the used games, they're in those little envelopes or those little slips. They're all down there. There's the opening where you can get back to the cases, or at least get back to the DS games. You get a couple TVs up there. Maybe they're displaying the latest and greatest game trailers and just all sorts of stuff. They run a lot more ads. I don't know what it is about GameStop now. It seems like a lot of the stuff in store has really changed. A lot of times, I think they're involved with like a wireless or like a phone service now. So you see stuff like that in there now. It's really quite strange. I don't really understand what they're doing. But as far as the color scheme, it's fairly accurate. And I don't know how I screwed this up. I somehow got off on the paint in here, and I don't know what I was doing. Must have got happy with painting the walls and just kind of messed some of this up. So I'll have this corrected by the time this gets on the workshop, which it should already be on there by the time this video gets up. But yeah, the color scheme's really nice in here. Back here, you've got a little storage area. So say you've got some of the new games that haven't been released yet, or a bunch of used consoles. Everything's just back here. And you do also have an exit to get outside. Now, both stores also have exits. So I wanted to add maybe one more to the side, but I realized I wasn't going to have enough room on this side of the road. Like I thought about adding, I don't know what store it was going to be, but maybe one to the right side of the GameStop. But yeah, this is a cool building. Let me go ahead and hop in here. There was a lot of requests for this, and I was hesitant because I was like, well, how am I going to do this? And it's the same with the next store. It's the parts that are in Scrap Mechanic, you almost have to pretend that, you know, they are something they aren't. Like the AT&T store here. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, how do you do an AT&T store? And I was asking myself the same question. I was like, what am I going to use for like cell phones and boxes? So it's somewhat similar to the GameStop, except for I used a lot more pipe pieces. But this store actually came out fairly nice. It is really orange, kind of like most AT&T stores. You've got some white trim and some black trim on the bottom. A lot of times they either have like gray carpets on the inside, or they'll have wood paneling for the floor. So I just went with the gray carpet. You've got a little bench here. This is a couple places. A lot of times when you're like signing up, or signing up to a new contract or buying new phones, they'll set you down with the representative. You've got behind the counter here. Maybe they keep some of the new phones locked away back here. You've got some of the phones on display, in which for the phones, yes, I did use pipe pieces. I did not know what else to use. Somebody was requesting that I do like an Apple store, and I was like, what am I going to use for that? Like, it was hard enough to do this. I couldn't picture doing an Apple store. Over here, you've got a couple of displays. Those are on bearings. Kind of got them sideways. It just changes up the room a little bit. Over here, there's just some extra displays. Really pretty simple building. Back here, you've got the same type of storage area. And I've got a little security monitor. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of high-value merchandise. Like phones these days cost $800 a piece for the new smartphones. So, yeah, there's a lot to deal with in these stores. I can only imagine what kind of security measures they have to go through. Let's talk about that real quick. Now, AT&T, that little "and" symbol, I couldn't figure out what to do, so I kind of made something up. It looks okay. Like, if you're just passing by and you just swing by the front of the building, you don't really notice it that much. But, I don't know. I couldn't think of anything else to use for that. But yeah, nice store. Let's go ahead and close the door here. But yeah, I'm really happy with the outside of these buildings. These will be on the workshop. I think if you want to stick them in your town, they're really easy to weld down. I think I have a corner piece that pokes out, so just place a block down, weld it down to that. Also, of course, the McDonald's is available on the workshop. Quite a few of you guys have been downloading that. That was awesome. Now, I've got one more thing that I'm working on, and this is a work in progress. I'm going to need some suggestions. Actually, I'm going to need suggestions for the whole town, so if you've got anything you'd like to see, I want to add some stuff that maybe we can interact with, so maybe whether that be like a dirt track or maybe a drag race track. I'm not 100% sure what I want to add, but I feel like we need some stuff that we can actually do in the town. Now, back here, this terrain is terrible. So I figure, what can I add back here? And I'm thinking like a city park. Now, I have started on a couple things, but I would like some feedback from you guys. Now, as you can see here, I've built what looks like, I would say it's a pond. I wouldn't say it's a lake. You've got a nice little pond here. The border is concrete to kind of make it look like mud. The tile pieces, I'm going to get rid of those little tile slashes. I know I've talked about doing it a lot, but I need to do it because it looks really funny with all the little like tile marks on it. I mean, it looks weird. But I think if I got rid of those, it would look actually really nice. I've got that, got a boat, you got a little bridge that goes over it. I would like to be able to do like a path around the whole thing, but it's really hard with the terrain because you're going to be sticking into the ground quite a bit. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep these little edges. Like, I want to keep the bridge that goes over the pond, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep the edges here. It's just something that I think it looks good, but I could be wrong. Now, we have quite a bit of room back here. I would eventually like to add the road that's over by the school. I'd like to run it back behind this, and I'd like to loop the road that's over by the McDonald's. I want to loop it this way over to the right. After that, I believe we can go, I want to say maybe, I don't know what looks the most flat. Like, I think maybe we could wedge in between there, or we might go to the left here because there's some open lots over to this side. There's quite a bit of flat land. There's also a lot of crappy land. Now, another thing I want to do, and maybe that'll be the next episode, I really want to add a farm. Like, there's some really nice areas over here. You've got a cornfield. I think there's a couple areas that have several different things, like all together, several different fields, so it would look nice to have like a farm over there. There's a decent sized cliff over to the right. I could add something to that. Over to the left, you can see it somewhat in the distance. A lot of people are asking me for an airport. I'm like, I've already built one. It's way off over there. Also to the left, there should be the watchtower. You can somewhat see it through the trees over there. But yeah, guys, keep pouring in the suggestions. I've got a lot of work to do here. I also am thinking about going back, and if I cannot get the moon base working exactly the way I want it to, or say if I can't get it working soon, I would like to also build in the apocalypse map again. I've been looking at it, and there's a couple things that I can do to optimize it. So I'm thinking about going back there. So if you guys would like to see something in the apocalypse world, just let me know, comment below, and also comment, like I said, with suggestions for the town here. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to like and subscribe, everything helps my channel. By the way, if you didn't check out Multiplayer Monday, that was yesterday. We had a fantastic episode. We did a def run challenge. But anyways, guys, we'll have some more Scrap Mechanic coming up soon. I've got some other games that I'm going to play. So anyways, hope you have a good day, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you.